All right, everybody, we are back with a brand new Cabral Concept. Today, we're going to share with you 3 specific studies, but one in particular I'm going to have linked up at stephencabral.com/3148 if you want the science behind it as to how to boost your metabolism by greater than 10% using a specific diet methodology. Now, you probably heard about the diet methodology before, but here's the nice thing about it. You don't necessarily have to change the foods that you eat. That is one of the hallmarks of this particular diet. This diet also allows you to do it every single day or maybe 2 days per week. It's called intermittent fasting, but you may not know the specific methodology to be able to get this 10% boost, why it works, and then how to use it to your advantage. So let me give you a couple different ways, and then what I want to do is link up much more in-depth podcasts on each one of these. So the first and the foremost is the daily intermittent fast. This one, you're actually going to go anywhere between 12 and 16 hours overnight fasted. So you're going to stop at 6 o'clock at night, and then you're going to start eating again somewhere around 8 a.m. That's what a lot of people in our practice do. They go 6 at night after dinner, and then they go to 8 a.m. in the morning when their day basically starts. If you want to go a little bit longer, you can go to 10 a.m. We've been talking about that for many, many years. Don't skip breakfast. Don't go all the way to noon, because there are actually then long-term detrimental side effects for many individuals. And I'm going to share with you exactly why in this video, in this podcast as well. All right. The second one, let's say you don't want to fast every single day. Well, the other one is just the up-down diet, or the 5-2, however you want to call it. It's essentially 2 days a week of only 800 calories for those 2 days. So I'm going to link up a podcast if you've never heard about the 5-2 diet on how to complete the 5-2 diet. Now, the next one is a once or twice a week 24-hour fast, and then not the rest of the days. What does that mean? Well, it's something kind of like my 1-day reset diet. And again, I'll link to that show as well with a PDF of how to complete it. 1-day reset diet is basically what I do on 3 out of 4 Mondays a month. I don't do it every single week. Usually something comes up where I don't want to do it that particular day, but nothing wrong with doing it once a week. And what you're doing is you're basically going from Sunday night. So I finish my dinner, let's say Sunday night with my family, and then I go all the way until dinner the next night with my family on Monday night. So I still have dinner with them Monday night, but I haven't eaten that day. Now I've consumed liquids, whether it's the DNS that I talk about, or it's just a black decaf coffee or regular coffee or green tea. All of those are acceptable, but you're just not consuming anything that's basically going to bump you up into what's called more mTOR and out of autophagy. So all of those matter, and they really do all work. And it's really based on the individual. But what we're doing during this intermittent fast is very specific. When the body is fasted, and this is actually a really important point, it produces more norepinephrine. The norepinephrine is that fight or flight based response. Now, this is a benefit, but it's also a hindrance. It's why I talk about this all the time in our practice. We don't have everybody do longer fasts. We just don't. And the reason is that we run the stress, mood, and metabolism test. So if you've never heard about that before, it looks at all of your sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and DHEA. And then it looks at your cortisol levels all throughout the day. And then it looks at your thyroid, T4, T3, and TPO antibodies, as well as vitamin D, insulin, hemoglobin, A1C. And it's all done at home. Just a simple finger prick and a little bit of saliva. And you get the results back, and you get a plan according to that. So it's an amazing lab. But what happens is when people's bodies are exhausted, TSH levels are starting to rise, progesterone in women is starting to drop, testosterone in men is starting to drop, DHEA is dropping in both men and women. We know that this person, they can use daily intermittent fasting, but we don't want to push it. They're not going past 8 a.m. if they're waking up around 6. So we're never going more than 1 or 2 hours after waking without starting to then fuel the body. So this is really important because we can't push them too far into fight or flight. It also may be the reason why there's higher cardiovascular issues if someone's on a skipping breakfast-based routine. So it's important to look at that. I've talked about circadian rhythm diets, all of this. So I want to share it both ways though, because I like to stay unbiased, meaning that a little norepinephrine increase, not necessarily a bad thing, especially if it's a little earlier in the day. But here's the issue, is that taken too far, it's too great a stress in the body. So The norepinephrine matters because this is what also gives us that boost in metabolism. It's a big part of it, but it improves focus, it improves energy, all of those things. It's why people feel so good oftentimes when they are fasting. But this, like I said, can be taken overboard, and not in the first week or even couple weeks, but eventually the body begins to become burnt out. All right, really important to share that. All right, the second one is this. If you do the longer fast, not the 12 hours, but 24 hours, so after 24 hours of fasting, like you're on that 1 day diet fast or our functional medicine detox, which is only 7 days though, every quarter, every 12 weeks. That's a little bit different. That's at stephencabral.com/detox. Check out the infographic on that if you want to follow along. But that can increase HGH levels up to 2,000% in men and 1,300% in women. And I'll link up that study as well. So really impressive there, because even though you're going longer in fasting, you're still preserving muscle because you're boosting HGH, which is human growth hormone. All right. Over time, when you do fasting enough, the 2 low-calorie days, the 12 to 16 hours daily, the 1 day a week, you're improving insulin sensitivity. If you improve insulin sensitivity, you get glucose shuttled into the cells where it belongs, and that means that you are going to improve your body's ability to burn body fats, right? To store fat and to burn it as needed. And that's what we want. We don't want those glucose levels elevated. Another big part of this is a reduction in inflammation. If you are inflamed, it's so overlooked. But typically, if you're inflamed, you have more endogenous production of cortisol and estrogen, stress hormone, and a specific sex hormone that causes you oftentimes to gain more body fat and certainly increases inflammation. All of those is the opposite of having a healthy metabolism. So there's one more I wanted to share with you, and this is really impressive, I think, as well, is that while you are in this fasted state, your body is doing a tremendous amount of cleanup. When there's nothing new coming in, its job is the best way that I've heard of it is to recycle old parts. That's basically it. It's breaking down old mitochondria, old cells, old brain cells. It's cleaning up heavy metals, pathogens, anything that may be in the body, it's helping to get rid of. And so over time, what does this do? Well, if you're talking about reduction of senescent cells, zombie cells, we'll be talking more about those. It again decreases inflammation. What inflammation really is talking about, if you have normal levels, healthy levels of inflammation, your body is at more of a state of what's called homeostasis or equilibrium. When your body is balanced, it's able to tap into body fat as needed. It's able to use micronutrients and macros to build up muscle, which is also then more metabolic, right? So if it's more metabolic, you burn more calories. And what happens though is that your body is functioning how a healthy human body is meant to function. And the more you do that over time, the more you boost your metabolism, because you move further away from inflammation, imbalanced hormones, low thyroid, high cortisol output, high stress in general, and more to a state of balanced hormones, glucose, thyroid, and much more. So when we do this is why the studies show you get anywhere from 3% on the low end to 14% on the high end of a boost in metabolism. The specific study that I'm talking about right now is called Enhanced Thermogenesis and Diminished Depot Fat in Response to Repeated Epinephrine Administration. So this goes into what happens when the specific boost is on metabolism. This was in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. The specific excerpt is that the short-term fasting increases resting metabolic rate by 3.6 to 14% due to this believed norepinephrine or noradrenaline-based levels, which stimulates energy expenditure. And then the previous studies that I spoke about as well, I will link up at stephencabral.com/3148. And that is the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism on HGH, and the one on cell metabolism on improved insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial function following intermittent fasting protocols. So Intermittent fasting, it's an amazing thing, closest thing that we probably have to the fountain of youth to boosting metabolism, but it can be overdone. So don't overdo it. Use it wisely. It will boost your metabolism, it'll boost your overall health. And if you want to go more in depth, I'm going to link up a few shows that we've already done on the 5-2 diet, the 1-day diet, much more at stevencabral.com/3148. If this was helpful, always do feel free to share it with anyone you believe could serve. Talk with you soon. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.